We really like desire lines at our company. We took desire lines relating to bicycle users to the next level. We filmed an intersection in Copenhagen for 12 hours last year. I hired an anthropologist to look at the behavior and the mobility patterns of the cyclists and the pedestrians, but also the motorists. She mapped the desire lines of every single one of the 16,631 cyclists who went through that intersection that day, and that's not even a busy intersection in Copenhagen. And it was a fascinating experience. No computer model in history can replace what ended up being 250 hours of direct human observation. A project on this scale has never been done before with bicycles. You have to go to the next level when you're battling against the matrix. And when you're also trying to find new ways to redesign intersections that are more bicycle-friendly and more people-friendly, instead of just accepting the car-centric status quo that we've inherited from a previous century. It wasn't just where they were going, it was also a lot of behavior. Like, she was an anthropologist, and we spent hours looking at it. So it's like some of the ideas that we found were when people are riding their bike, they have their position, and then when they break the law, you know, like, and they ride through a pedestrian crossing, they change their form. And it's kind of like, you know, nobody's looking at them, but people sort of, sorry, I'm breaking the law now, I know, bear with me, I'm almost done. And then they got back onto their, nobody's ever looked at this before, like how the people change their form when indicating to the rest of us that, well, I shouldn't be doing this, but, you're going to survive, it'll all be fine. So it's like so many interesting points that we found, in 250 hours of studying these people. This is one of the far too many examples of bicycles being regarded as an irritation, with no regard for design or the human experience. And we still see crap like this being put into place here in 2013 all around the world. This is non-cyclists who are told to plan for cyclists. Non-cyclists trying to fit bicycles into the matrix. Putting bicycles, this is from North America. They gave us many great things, the Americans, throughout history, but bicycle infrastructure is not one of them. Bicycle lanes on the left side of parked cars, they're great for protecting the parked cars. They keep the parked cars nice and clean and away from the moving traffic. So, and these things they have over there are called sharrows. They say, oh, we have bicycle infrastructure. We're just going to paint a bike with 2 arrows and then we all share. This is really, it's kind of embarrassing for them. But even in my own city, it's quite interesting. I just came back from Rio de Janeiro, and you see this all around the world. And a lot of the intersections, in huge letters, as big as people, it says "pare," danger. And basically, this is a city advertising their incompetence. If you have to write danger in front of all these intersections, you're probably doing a really crappy job of organizing your traffic. And this is an example from my own neighborhood in Copenhagen, in Frederiksberg. These stickers appear all over the city all of a sudden, in the middle of a block, because a lot of people were still following their 7,000-year-old habit and crossing the street to get to the other side. And it says cross at the intersection. That's what it's basically saying there. And with arrows, really helpful arrows. 200 meters this way is an intersection. Another 300 meters this way is another intersection. And they're just trying to sort of, and this isn't my city advertising their incompetence. If you have to put signs down, pay for the stickers and place it and pay somebody to put it down, you're just basically telling everybody that you're not very good at traffic planning or creating a livable city. So the positive thing about this is some citizen, added a text on the black line there, and it says, Frederiksberg loves cars more than it loves you. And I find it very encouraging when regular citizens start to suspect that they're living in the matrix and that the matrix exists. This is a very encouraging sign. Desire lines are a great concept. People tried, however, to hijack it very early on. This is an urban planning map of Glasgow in Scotland from about 1960s. And this is how they saw the desire lines. They even, took the word in 1990. And this is their plan for the city of Glasgow. All those red lines are motorways. Somewhere underneath all those red lines are people just trying to go to work or go down to the shops. Fortunately, they didn't have all the money to complete this monster vision of their motorway future. A lot of them were built, but I mean, this is kind of an example of how desire lines also have inspired other people, and they hijack it, unfortunately. So direct human observation as a way to modernize our cities. The other way is also quite simple, and this is really appropriate being in a room like this, but it's something that we all have a relationship to as well. Design. Everybody here has a relationship with design. When you buy a toothbrush, when you buy a toaster, when you choose the clothes that you're going to wear at the clothing store. Applying basic design principles to city planning is the second point that I want to make. Now, I speak to a great many people in my work, and many different people, politicians, planners, engineers, advocates, architects, regular citizens. And I discovered that I was speaking several different languages. I kind of felt like I was from Luxembourg, I guess, but several different languages when communicating really what was the same thing to all of these different people. But I discovered if I started using design metaphors in everything I was saying, I was communicating much more efficiently to all of these different people. Because you speak very differently to a politician, the mayor of Sao Paulo, or a bicycle advocate from Winnipeg. You know, it's really a different way of speaking. So if you could, I found that one way to start communicating with them. So how can design help in this perspective? First of all, how does a designer work and think? A designer puts themselves in the mind of the user, the end user of a product. That human being on the end of the design process is everything to the designer. The people who designed the smartphone over there that I have, they thought about me. They thought about my 6-year-old, my 86-year-old dad, looking at the best way to design for the end user of these products. It's a human designing for a human. And that's a lot more than you can say for modern traffic engineering, which is based on computer models and stuff that shows up on the screen. Designers work with concepts like the 4 types of pleasure: physio, socio, psycho, ideal pleasure. Imagine, whether you ride a bicycle or not, you know, it doesn't matter, but imagine, you know, bicycle infrastructure based on the 4 types of pleasure. You know, wouldn't that be a fantastic thing? Designing for bicycles and pedestrians as well, and any aspect of a livable city should be like designing any other product in the world: toothbrushes, toasters, smartphones, or chairs. That most iconic of all design objects. They were, you know, it's dating from the Neolithic period. You know, we've had chairs, and many artists and designers have tried to interpret the chair. When you all came in here today, you found your seats and you sat down. It was very simple. You didn't have to contemplate the chair. Well, maybe you did, because it's a cool Danish chair, right? So maybe you did want to contemplate it. But you didn't have to sort of like walk around the chair before you sat down and figure out how to work it and how to turn it on or off, or worry about whether or not it would disappear suddenly from under you in the middle of my talk. You just sat down. It was easy and intuitive. And again, imagine if walking in a city or riding a bicycle in a city was as easy and intuitive as that. That really is the goal for everything that we do, and it is possible. We've all seen stuff like these chairs. We can react to it differently. You know, oh, it's a shopping trolley, but it's a chair. Oh, it's an octopus, but, you know, and you can love it or you can hate it. None of us have like 4 of these in our living room. You know, it's just sort of something that we react to like at an exhibition. If we're comparing comparing chair design with bicycle infrastructure, maybe it would look like this. Maybe this is the Luxembourg City cycling map. Now, the guy is showing us that it works, right? So he's saying the chair works. Some guy somewhere saying, look, it works. But, you know, there's a lot of sharp edges. There's missing spots. You know, it's kind of an interpretation of, of how to get around a city. Really, you know, again, none of us have 6 of these around our dining room table. It's kind of a funny thing. But all people want is a damn chair. And yes, it's a Danish design chair. Thank you for supporting our... It's easy to use, it's nice to look at, it's functional, and it's sensible. That's what the citizens of any city want, is infrastructure that has those principles behind it. Good design is very powerful. It can be seductive as well. It can outperform price and performance. Like, do we all need the smartphones that we have? No, but did we go down and buy them as soon as they came out? Yes. You know, this is the seductive nature of a lot of modern technology. Now look at this kid. This is Felix. He's 11 now. He's my son. And I find it interesting about how seductive design can be. My kids, they spend about 5 hours a year in a car. I'm not some anti-car freak or eco-freak or anything like, you know, eco-warrior. That's just the way that we live in Copenhagen. That's just our daily life. So he really has no relationship to cars at all. Grandma has one apparently, but, you know, and he's in that once in a while, but hey. So there's an Xbox game that we play, a car racing game. And you can choose all the different brands of the world and all the different kind of cars that they've had throughout the past 60 years. And he's sort of, you know, scrolling through looking for, oh, Daddy, cool car. Oh, Daddy, that's a cool car too. And I realized at some point that all the cars that he was stopping and pointing at were like the ones on the left. Everything pre-1975. You know, car design was cool back in the day. You know, the average car design was really cool. So this kid, you know, like from the Sahara Desert of cars, is reacting to cool car design. He was seduced by these cars. They're really crappy to race in this Xbox game. You know, you gotta go up a little bit better performance. But I found that absolutely fascinating. That bike that he's on as well. Again, we just ride bikes. We don't wave the whole bike banner, and you know, I don't talk about how bikes are great. We have to ride our bike today. It's good for the environment. No, I try to actually eliminate all of this conversation when I'm talking to my kids. I don't want them to grow up thinking that recycling our garbage is, you know, standing on our soapbox and saying, we shall save the planet today, let's recycle our garbage. Let us ride our bicycles because cars are bad. No, I don't say, I seriously make a point of not talking about it. Take the garbage out, you know, put them in all the different bins. You know, ride your bike today, we're going to take the bikes today. I just try to eliminate it to make it completely normal for them. They don't grow up thinking they're special, because kids often don't want to think they're special, they want to fit in. So basically, he was seduced by the design of this bike. He saw it at a bike shop, a vintage rally chopper. And he has no relation. He has bikes, but you know, they all look the same. And he said, that is cool. I must have that bike. And I thought that was weird, because the kid, you know, he just has a regular bike. And he saw that one. He says, I have to own it. And now he rides around the city of Copenhagen. And kids, you know, from this big, his own age, adults, literally every day. We count it every time we ride around on a Saturday. How many people say, cool bike, kid. Cool bike. It's a cool bike. And, you know, we're riding along and somebody will say, hey, cool bike. And I'll look back at him and he'll go, 4 times? Okay. You know, so he has status on his bike in Copenhagen, where, you know, it is just a sort of a vacuum cleaner culture. And that's pretty cool. Good design can be seductive, of course. This isn't the best moment to be using the bicycle infrastructure in Copenhagen. But yet these people have been seduced to do so, because the design of the infrastructure is very, very good. 80% of Copenhageners ride their bicycles all winter. So you know, when the design is good, people will continue to use it. They know that, you know, this was a snowstorm, so the city prioritizes snow removal for cycling before the cars, the roads are even touched. The bike lanes are cleared of snow. So they know that in half an hour, the little bike lane snow cleaner will be by, and when they turn around and come back the other way, they'll be doing so on dry cycle tracks. So, you know, it's not the best day to do it, but they know that it works, so they're going to continue to use it. They've been seduced to do it. If you design beautiful, functional things like these lamps and these chairs, you know, or like bicycle infrastructure, you have to take care of them. You have to really take very good care of them. Good design can also improve human behavior. Everybody in this room knows what I'm going to say now, and has experienced it, has maybe even thought it. Oh, those damn cyclists, you know, breaking the law, going through the red lights, you know, all of us, you know, just doing whatever the hell they want. I hear this all over the world, and I always say no. These people have not been given adequate bicycle infrastructure. Even worse, none at all. You know, never mind the fact that cyclists and pedestrians are forced to abide by a traffic culture that was engineered to serve the automobile 100 years ago. It's, you know, bicycles are a completely different form of transport. You know, I've cycled in over 50 cities around the world, and I can tell you that we have really the world's best cyclists in Copenhagen. Those 16,000 cyclists that we mapped, only 6% of them bent the rules or broke a serious law out of that many cyclists a day. This is rush hour every single day. This is a whole bunch of people waiting at the red light, checking their smartphone. Oh, it's green. And, you know, regular citizens don't want to break the law. I don't want to break the law. I don't want to do illegal things in my city. You know, I just want to live my daily life and go from A to B safely and conveniently and efficiently, you know, and do all the things that everybody, that's all people want. They don't want to go around being the rogues of the urban landscape. So if you want to, you know, influence positive behavior on bicycles, build good, well-designed bicycle infrastructure, and your problem is solved. And stop bitching. We should all stop bitching at these people until we actually give them the opportunity to prove us, you know, to prove us wrong. Because the bicycle is a different form of transport. You use it differently. You have to have the momentum. There's a whole bunch of anthropology behind the bicycle that is not, you know, considered in traffic planning. So. Design is a multifaceted tool. Just thinking in design terms, it can help you cut through to the bone in understanding the issues at hand. It lets you produce something like this, which we did at our company. This is a short history of traffic engineering. You know, 1800, it was pretty simple back then. Super straight lines, super fast mobility for horses and pedestrians. 1900, you know, we had horses, we had the bicycle, we had some trams. 1920, you know, the car started to show up. And here we have 1950 to the present, you know. Straight mobility in many cities. The car is prioritized, fast A to B for the car. Everybody else is at the mercy of traffic engineering, you know, and it's an incredibly difficult task just to walk or ride a bike or even take a bus in a city. This is sort of the summary of if you want to improve conditions for pedestrians, for cyclists, encourage people riding bikes, walking more, taking public transport, this is all you need. This is as simple as it gets. It doesn't get any more complicated than this, unless you want it to be more complicated, and that's another thing. You want people to do all those other things, you make driving a car a pain in the ass. You know, one-way streets, high parking prices, you know, and that the Homo sapiens who use cars will think, this sucks, basically. I'm going to look for other options. All Homo sapiens want is a fast A to B. You know, to work, well, probably more from home, from work, leaving work, you know, or going to the cafe, or going to the cinema, or picking up your kids. We just want to go like a river. We want the quickest route. If you make that the bicycle, if you make that walking or public transport, Homo sapiens will say, okay, I'll do that. You don't even need campaigns to tell them to do it. It's green, it's healthy. No, you do that, and they'll do it. This is what we know from Copenhagen. This is why people ride bicycles. It's the fastest way to get around. Only 1% ride for the environment, saving the planet. 56% say, it's fast A to B, dude. I'm just going to do it. That's why we ride.